much. So we might see a little bit of conflict coming off of these first rounds, and whoever manages to get dominance inside of those locations can really kind of set the pace for the later rounds.
Well, I'm hoping personally for a lot of conflict in this first couple of rounds, like we've just mentioned. These guys having a lot of experience playing against each other, especially in a high-stakes environment like the one we find ourselves in. So for this initial plane path, we are going to be starting in that northwest corner of the map and coming down past Mill to Power. This is going to allow a lot of flexibility for teams to get to places like Georgia Pole, Pachinki, Yasnaya, all places that we've seen multiple teams try and drop for. But for now, God Squad trying to get to that military island, likely going to have to either long float or find some vehicles. So perhaps maybe some conflict trying to get down around that Milta area. We
might see a couple of people specifically. There's a couple of teams that like to play in the Gatka area, maybe around Quarry. Also down in Primorsk, so we might see them kind of like hard drop, try to find some vehicles. Might lead to something there. Interestingly enough, it looks like Slime Squad and Orbit are doing a push over towards Georgia Pool. That's one of the more known places that Optic likes to go. They're actually opting into a different location. Looks like they're going to go over near Rajak and kind of compete in that school area.
Absolutely, and actually looking toward that Yasnaya area, we do see Gankstars looking to join Totality so far anyway, maybe fighting for some territory in that Yasnaya region. So like we've mentioned in the past, these guys are not going to give up space very easily. Wildcard and Tempo Storm have been dropping near each other. They have a long stretch to get to. Tempo Storm opting for that Gatka region most of the time. So we'll see if they can get down and safe. We've seen these guys square off and scrim so far. We'll see if that happens again.
One of the interesting things is on the map, everybody's kind of opting more towards the northern area. Nobody really did that hard push down to Primorsk like we were talking about. Nobody went down into Gatka. New Circle has popped up, so all the guys that dropped late really rewarded inside this. You can see God Squad making their push over towards military base like you're talking about. Honeybadgernation, they're on Nova. But you got the military base island. Most of these guys are going to realize not going to go in their favor, so they're going to have to cross one of these bridges to get to the northern area. The guys in Yasnaya, they're comfortable. Nova, that's over there in the Milta area, they're comfortable. Flyquest has got their little bit of a foothold, as well as Cloud9. They're kind of playing in a really interesting spot we don't see them play too often. I'm willing to bet they're just dropping, getting some cars, and now that the circle's popped on them, they've got to try to figure out, do we want to stay here or do we want to push out and get some loot?
Well, for Cloud9, that's a great question because they are not going to have access to some of the more dense loot areas. Cloud9 needs firepower to be effective, especially with a fragger like Moody who likes to get involved as often as he can. Tempo Storm currently on foot, definitely a slow start for them, no vehicles in hand. They do have access to a compound. We do check in here with C9, that stab. Looting in the I guess the what is that, the farm compound a little bit further.
It's a little bit west of the farm area.
Yeah, it's the central, I guess the South Pachinki compound.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has a name or not, but regardless, Stab is there by himself. C9 all spread out. Now for this initial transition, I'm going to be interested to see what the Georgia Pole teams, the Slime Squad and Orbit, what they're going to be able to do here.
Well, one thing that's kind of interesting while we were looking at Tempo Storm there, they opt into a little bit of a different strategy for looting than most of the other teams do. They like to drop down, separate out around Gatka, kind of go into one-on-ones and kind of push off different directions. So interesting to see how quickly they can do that, find vehicles, make their way back since they are on foot. This has kind of disrupted their whole opening strategy. This is their gambit. They go out, they try to get loot in very weak locations, but separate and then come back together as quick as possible, and they're not capable of doing it this time.
And it really looks like both Tempo Storm and Wildcard just do not have the ability to get started with their loot phase, something that is going to affect their mid-game. Even though Tempo Storm is taking some shots, Zampa at Wildcard, but there's just nothing for them to do right now. And even for Wildcard, they're kind of corralled around that Chopsticks region. There's nothing they can really do right now.
Yeah, we're looking at an overview of the Yasnaya area. You can see that everybody's separated out. Yasnaya is big enough for 2 squads quite easily, so nothing to be too worried about there. One group's going to go to the far western side, and the other side's going to go far east. They're going to keep eyes on each other. They're all inside the circle. They'll probably condense down around the south, but nothing too big to worry about there. Here's our combo squad. Now, this is something to note. The desk already told everybody about it. Notice that they are the same team. They do have the NV tags for the NV players, and they have the Ghost tags for the Ghost players. Don't let that confuse you as we go forward, because naturally we're going to be referring to them as Ghost as we go through this, or Ghostius, I think is what everybody's referring to him as at this point.
Absolutely. So for Ghost, this is an interesting storyline, and something that we were discussing backstage is just how the shot calling of Venerated is going to affect a squad that is used to having Balak calling for them. Balak, a strong in-game leader, Venerated, a strong in-game leader, but now it's about trust. Do these teammates trust each other enough to get through this weekend without any conflict internally? That's something that we've talked about regarding Ghost in the past. But they do have the firepower, the talent to make a huge splash here, and I'm going to be watching them to be top performers.
We've already seen that they've started a little bit of their exodus from the Milta area. Something to note is we do have crates that come into play. Just up until the last couple of weeks, crates were always kind of death traps. You never wanted to go after them because you knew that somebody was going to be focused in that area. But with the changes on how loot drops now, with the level 3s being inside of them, they're a lot more contested, and there is risk involved in that. We do see that 2 have dropped inside of this circle. They're going to be just a little bit to the west of where Eunited is at, and then just a little bit to the east of where Team Gates is at. So, going to be interesting to see if anybody stops around that location, tries to get any loot off of it.
Spacestation Gaming already on rotation, moving down through that area where we did see those 2 crates drop. I don't imagine they're going to want to pause that rotation to try and grab a crate. But for now, the first rotation phase has begun. You can see vehicles starting to leave their loot areas, see if they can try and grab one of those very, very important center compounds. Eunited has done a good job of centering. They are still spread apart. Flyquest is there as well. And now it's really going to be a matter of that left upper portion of the play zone. A lot of pressure going to be mounting there.
Specifically, there's so much dead space around there. You know, everybody's played in that area around Mansion, just to the south of Yasnaya. There's the hay bale. There's a lot of fields. That's not necessarily where you want to be playing at. It's a lot of risk involved in it. You want to make sure you protect your vehicles, you protect yourself, you have the cover pieces. Another thing is we've been talking about centering. We'll do a little bit of PUBG 101 for everybody that might be tuning in, just popping in and finding this for the first time. There's a mathematical better chance for you to not have to move the more centered you are. So that's why a lot of teams are trying to condense down. The problem with it is 80 people alive when everybody's condensing around that small location. It can get violent real quick.
Yeah, it gets hot in a hurry. So, and absolutely, the less you have to move, the less you have to rotate, and the less you have a chance of being murdered in rotation. Now, the real question is, looking at this map, God Squad, are they going to try and set up a situation where they could maybe hold a choke point for teams that want to avoid that crunch on the left side of the map? The circle has begun to move. You just heard that sound cue. So for teams like Tempo Storm Wildcard, maybe they want to opt for that military island loop around, since that water is going to prevent them from doing full circles around the outside of the play zone.
It all comes down to the gamble right now. It's all about where you feel the next circle is going to happen. Most people are opting into the center spot, but there's also a lot of teams still on the outskirts that haven't started making their move yet. Flyquest is in a good spot at the direct time. They're due up and centered, but we have, at this time, I'm looking about 10 teams maybe that are all, I'd say probably closer to about 6 to 8 that are still on the outside and still going to have to figure out how they're going to transition inside of this area that's not necessarily the safest to play around. I mean, you've got lumberyard, you've got bunkers, but let's be honest, go down to bunkers. It's a death trap. You've got the area around Mansion that you can maybe play around the Milta area.
So looking at Slime Squad, who's begun their rotation, they are moving right towards Dignitas in that Severny area as we check in with Gankstars, looking to grab and trade out some loot. You can see on your top portion of your screen how Slime Squad is getting very close to where Dignitas is set up. They are in rotation, and it'll be up to Dignitas to decide to try and engage early, but starting a fight while the circle is pressuring you into the first play zone, we will see what happens, but we do have our first trade as Eunited getting involved.
We were just talking about bunkers and what can happen whenever you go down to bunkers, and it looks like Team Gates and Eunited having a little bit of trouble there. You can see 2 people from Team Gates already down, but 1 on Eunited did get caught inside of this. You can see the Eunited guys on the minimap are starting to push over and forward, but the rest of the guys from Team Gates aren't involved in this. So Eunited doesn't know that. They just know that they're getting shots from somewhere, so it's a little bit risky. Finally, Kaisuko goes down there, and he just mops that up.
Absolutely. So that was a nice 2-for-1 trade from Geis, who has survived. So it looked like they did have a push onto their position. Geis did his duty, maybe trading. I'm not sure exactly what happened. We did see a grenade go off there, so perhaps that dead man grenade did its work, and now they are going to stay 4 strong, picking up 2 kills here in the early game.
And with the amount of points that kills are worth inside of this, every single one of them matters so much. Sure, the guys at the top, if you get first place, you get 500 points. I mean, PUBG is all about survival. If you come in first place, you should end up with the most points based off of survival. Then it moves to 410 after that, down to 345, and it very quickly drops because right around about 8th place is 145 points, then it goes to 120. It's 15 points per kill. So that's already 30 points that those guys have managed to stack up that quickly. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of these teams that are like kind of getting a feel for everything. They might go a little bit more aggro, as we're actually seeing another down coming out, and that's going to be on Caden from Nova Richie.
Absolutely. So Nova sharing that Milta region with Ghost/Envious. They have put themselves in a position now to take a long shot. This does happen from time to time, where that early game trade does happen, where you knock off a helmet, but that's massively important for the mid and late game, where replacing that armor, replacing that helmet, and diminished meds are going to cost you. So taking damage this early in the game is not going to be a great start for Ghost.
Well, we just saw one of the teams a second ago. That's going to be Gankstars. They just moved over and they got their new branding. They just got signed just a couple of weeks ago based off of their performances in the qualifiers moving up to this. So really excited to see how they play, and they're playing around the prison area. This is very popular in a circle such as this. You try to catch people coming around the transition, because crater/prison, nobody wants to go in there. It's a death trap. Anybody on the outside of it can just murder you as you come through. So you play the outsides of it, and it takes up a lot of dead space inside of the map, and you just catch people as they're trying to transition through, because that's the weakest point that teams are at right now. Everybody's just trying to get inside the circle and trying to find that right path. If you can kill people right now when they can't fire back at you, it's just gravy and points in the bank.
So you can see here they are taking a look at these yellow cabins, trying to find maybe a headshot, maybe just do a little bit of damage to the team occupying the yellow cabins down in front of them. So for Gankstars, they are actually looking at Slime Squad, who hasn't finished their transition just yet, as Microstar lagging a little bit behind. Now, we do see Tempo Storm, that early game issue of not finding vehicles and staying on foot, costing them a little bit here, as Zampa and Maluk are still outside the blue zone. And your boy Dre and his teammate, I can't believe, I'm not sure if he's still with his separate, yeah, it's Ben Q5 is there with them. So they are going to make it in here, but they are still interspersed with Wildcard. Tempo Storm, one of our favorites here to perform well, not having a good start to this game.
Now, one of the things I want to note, usually we see rounds, like specifically the first couple of rounds of a tournament, be a lot, like very violent as everybody drops and tries to figure out where to go. This time we've seen everybody lean into passive play. Nobody wants to give up those points too early yet. So everybody's just trying to play it really, really safe. So we're kind of getting the inverse of what we normally see, where everybody's just kind of measuring each other out. But we're getting to that point where there's not going to be an option for that. Another circle or two, and it's just going to be a point where there's too many people alive, and there's just not even space to walk.
Well, this shift is going to be extremely important. You can see how much of the play zone has been eliminated by this, the water, as there's nothing that we can really do to rotate in those areas. Landmass is so important, and with that, it's looked like this shift, if it stays with water in this zone, is going to be a massive, massive piece of pressure, but it looks like most of that water is going to come all the way out, but we are shifting further towards Milta Power, and this is going to be a bloodbath.
This is going to be so bad. There is a wall of teams on that western part of the circle. Just look at, we've got Flyquest, we've got Cloud9, so many people just stacked right there. And so all these teams that have to transfer in, we got Tempo Storm still playing outside the blue. You can see it took them a second to find their stuff. Zampa's still way out there. All of these teams now have to push through just squad after squad, and that's going to be going up the Lumberyard Hill, and now it's already starting to get underway. As you can see, Fastrel's trying to line up these shots.
Yeah, that AK trying to hit that fast shot on the passing motorcycle, a little bit difficult,
Circling
but he is looping back around. Moody not wanting to move too close to Milta, but you can see the pressure already starting to mount.
Oh, it's starting to blow up.
And now there's just no room to move. The density is too high, and Ghost as well as Honeybadgernation have a great pinch setup for all these transitioning teams.
See, Cloud9's just trying to find some path to get out and around. The Dignitas guys have managed to get a little bit of a foothold, but it's all around that lumberyard area. As you can see, Honeybadgernation still keeping the eyes on the outside of it. I do think that Cloud9 managed to find their foothold in. NRG is still up and around trying to find out where to go to. And look at this. We're starting to get a lot of exchanges coming off in that Flyquest area we were just talking about.
Absolutely. That's that center-based area. That's a very important compound to be holding on to. You can see Flyquest getting involved here with Team Gates, but we cut to Cloud9 holding on to a very important compound within Milta. Milta, an interesting stronghold right now, as they are going to have the option to either stay in town, but the next shift will determine what they're going to be able to do. NRG is still holding strong on the edge, and I think the edge strategy is going to be a wise choice for NRG here.
It's too risky to move in. They see the numbers. They know it's still 76 people alive. You don't want to cross into this area. The only risk that comes to them is Optic is down kind of close to their location. It looks like to be moving that direction. Tempo Storm's going on a wide flank out and around. But one thing to note is look at the guys on Wildcard. They're moving very slowly. I don't think that they have any vehicles. They're on foot having to transverse into this.
And it looks like Orbit is having a really rough time. Dignitas also engaging with Spacestation Gaming. This is the issue with this dense rotation. There's just nothing to be done for some of these teams. As you see Spacestation Gaming under fire from Dignitas.
They just have nowhere to go. They just have to opt into the shack. It's just bullets coming out. Dignitas in a very strong position right now. You can hear all the gunshots going around. They see everybody as they're coming through. Pot shots coming up on the guys on the hill. Vehicles that are circling back around them. They do have nice line of sight over the guys near Crater, but they're just at this point getting a little bit more damage control. They feel like they might be at a little bit of a risk and pulling back.
So Orbit, if you missed it, was our first team eliminated here in this first game. That rotation did not go well for them. They were completely eliminated. So that is
Orbit
it
Gaming
for
has
Orbit.
been eliminated.
So unfortunately for them, they are out. But that's a tough start for a first-time LAN team here. But we are about to see another shift come in. That circle is shrinking. Zampa finally making his way closer to the blue zone. Tempo Storm opting to go all the way around the top of the circle and find themselves in Lipovka. But for Dignitas and Space Station, they're kind of deadlocked right now, where there's nothing that you can really do. Space Station Gaming trapped here, Matrim.
Well, we should talk about specifically Tempo Storm and how they were in that situation where you talked about. They've been inside the blue for quite a while now, and they didn't get a chance to loot. We talked about that as well. So they're going to be coming in. Hopefully they get a chance to drop into Lippo, get something out of it. Dignitas is essentially the gatekeepers for all of this northern area of the circle, and they've kind of got everybody pinned. All these guys that are in the northern spot are going to have to potentially push down through them to get any form of a foothold inside of what's probably going to be the next circle around the Lumberyard prison area.
Absolutely. Slime Squad, they were held in by Gankstars. They have not been able to move just yet, but they have no need to. Depending on this thing going south or north, that's the circle shift rather going south or north, they might get lucky here, but for now, Tempo Storm has arrived on scene. Slime Squad does have a decent amount of space around them, but I'm really I'm interested to see how NRG is going to play this. They've been moving their vehicles in a little bit at a time, just staying on the edge of the circle, not wanting to get into that very complicated area in the center of the map where we have the Lumberyard, we have the Milta Power region, Flyquest is entrenched, but we will see that shift, and we're going a little bit further to the west.
Just about where everybody, I would say, was expecting it to be at. All the guys that are on the outside, Nova, looks like Cloud9 does have a little bit of foothold because Milta is just barely inside of the circle. Cloud9 taking a couple of pot shots at the guys way out in the distance, and it's going to be Envious / Ghost that's going to do that transition over there. Looks like Fast Rail, he's just out in the open doing a hard push up. They want to get up. They just want to get violent. You can tell Honeybadgernation doesn't
Come back here. I'll bite your ankles.
Yes.
So for Honeybadgernation, they have been actually playing a bit of a spoiler for those trying to transition away from them. Now, we talked about that Milta area. We see Cloud9 and God Squad having come up from the military island. They are slowly filtering into that northern portion of Milta, and they have a decent... Oh, as we see Slime Squad now getting involved, it's Gankstars and a multiple... That's Spacestation Gaming on rotation again.
There's just nowhere for them to go. They were moving out of their location, coming out and forward. Slime Squad runs right into the shack that they had to run to. Look at all of the vehicles that are just destroyed around there. Gankstars now feeling it's a little bit hot because they saw all those bullets. There were 4 different squads shooting at Slime Squad, and now they're stuck in the same shack we just saw another team trapped in.
Yeah, so Spacestation Gaming had a hard push coming in from Slime Squad. It didn't go well for Spacestation Gaming getting eliminated. That's the second team here now done. So for Gankstars, they've had this little fight happening with Slime Squad all this time, but now this is their opportunity. They still have them in their sights. Dignitas too now as well.
Just taking pot shots through those windows, hoping they can potentially like click on ahead, get a drop off of it. We're at that attrition stage that comes into play now. You're just trying to burn off whatever you can, make them use meds, trying to knock off the armor, take down their vehicles, take anything you can from the other teams, just weaken them as much as possible.
Slime Squad just has nowhere to go. They have both Dignitas and Gankstars looking right at them, and really their vehicles are all being disabled. We do have one straggler trying to make a run for it. It looks like he might be able to get out of there.
But the problem with it is there's NRG off in the distance also firing this direction. Eunited still holding down their position, turning around, finally getting some shots onto the guys from Wildcard after their long run into this circle. They're now coming down off of a hillside and just getting pot shots thrown at them left and right. Optic's also trying to make their way into the circle very slowly, and Gankstars just got so much control inside of this area. You can see that playing around this Pride Rock location is just so good for this type of circle.
No doubt, and with Gankstars' vision, they are able to get a lot of pressure fire onto teams, but I don't know if they can directly engage without really exposing themselves to the multiple teams around them. Dignitas is able to see them if they get too far up that hill. So for Gankstars, it's really just a matter of control right now. Not so much able to reach out and touch anybody, as it looks like Slime Squad is just trapped in this little shack.
You can see that Optic has finally managed to get their foothold, got some shots on the guys in the bunker area, so Baja does get it down off of that. Probably won't have a chance to capitalize off of it too well, but pot shots are starting to get thrown back and forth as everybody does have somebody in their sights. This is where the third-party factor starts to become more and more dangerous, because you're looking at a squad that you just saw move up, and now somebody could be looking at you from a totally different angle, just pop you in your head and drop you.
Absolutely. So for Eunited, taking a lot of damage here in this mid-game, they've already had a couple of downs, a few headshots to boot, so they may or may not have a bit of an attrition situation going on with their armor and their meds being degraded. A couple of downs coming out as well, as we are about to see another shift. This is really going to dictate the back half of this game.
And I think it's just going to be on foot and run and gun as much as possible. Vehicles are going to be the last resort unless you think you have that option.
Ooh.
Popping over on Shelter, Eunited get a little bit of love in this with those early kills that they got. We do have Ghostius that's inside of this. Trigger Happy also inside of a good spot, as well as Flyquest. Team Gates' last member is also in a good position, but all these guys from from prison that were playing around the Milta area, they all have to come up and forward. One thing to note is we do have Honeybadgernation still on foot running in, and Cloud9 right next to them. They did manage to disengage from Milta and now running up next to each other.
Yes, that bottom right portion of the play zone, as you can see, teams are already starting to filter that way. God Squad, Honeybadgernation, Cloud9, Nova. Flyquest is going to have to defend as we see Honeybadgernation now getting involved with Cloud9 on their little vehicle move here. But for Honeybadgernation, they also have Ghost shooting him in the back. This whole bottom portion of this new play zone is a complete Christmas tree all the way alight.
So Trigger Happy in a position, they have Wildcard right on top of them, trying to take some pot shots out. The Slime Squad guys, somehow one of them managed to get into a working vehicle and is running his way over right into the middle of all of this. Gankstars lost line of sight on them just a second ago. Here comes the transition coming out. You can see NRG guys just looking over. Squime, are they going to be able to get
Squad, yeah, able to get away, but they are not going to get away without receiving fire from Penta from NRG. As we do see C9 and Honeybadgernation still engaging with each other on the southern portion of the play zone. Eunited here as well. And Slime Squad has made it north. Yeah, they have actually made it to the shelter. So
4 different squads all running right by Totality and NRG. They're just trying to find some type of place that they can crash into. Slime Squad stopped really early. NRG's coming up back behind it. You can see the drops are starting to come through as everybody's just trying to transition through different choke points. It's just down and death right after each other, and everybody's just trying to condense into the spot where there's just not a lot of different places to play. It's predominantly terrain and hills most.
Slime Squad made the risk and have arrived first and now have the opportunity to try and put pressure on rotating teams, but Eunited is still there taking shot after shot at them. Slime Squad not being able to return just yet. Kaisuko takes one in the face and he will go down.
And it's just so many squads right in this little area. It's so risky. You can see the guys are just trying to retreat back down inside of shelter. They could end up trapped inside of this location. Honeybadgernation's Wick just gets taken down as now Cloud9 trying to do this hard press right up and over next to them. Let's see how the next transitions are going to come. If you look over on the eastern area, Cloud9 is trying to do this hard push. They really want this Wizard Tower. They're separating out, coming from different points. Look at Moody coming around the backside of it. We've already got one down that's coming through. Timid is down and out on it. He's trying to come around the outside of the windows. Grizzly's taking a lot of damage. They're just moving around all over the place. Fast Rail has been their gunner so far, and he's up on the top of it. Timid is now down and out. Fast Rail just doesn't have a line of sight on the way Cloud9 is moving based on how this building is set up.
There's nothing they can do here. Fast Rail has no peek available. Grizzly is there prone, trying to do it, but he didn't know he was there. Stab goes down, but Moody there to trade, but there's more coming from Fast Rail. He will get one down. Frolicker goes down as well.
And now Cloud9 is in a world of trouble. They're trying to figure out how they can play around this. They're now getting shot every time they try to come around the outside of it. It's the third-party shots that are coming from everybody being condensed around this location with 59 people still up and alive. Fast Rail is just trying to figure out if he can do anything off of this. You can see the guys from Cloud9 are trying to figure out if they can make it up there, but there are so many shots coming up from the guys from Envious and Ghost.
The C9 has done a good job keeping their composure. They put a smoke down. They're going for their reses. They're not too worried about the last remaining member of Honeybadgernation. Off screen, we do see NRG getting involved as well. Looks like they've been almost completely taken out by Totality. I do see a final down there, but I don't see anyone left. It is actually K-Mine still left standing. So now NRG's taking a ton of damage, but for now, Cloud9, they're going to have to regroup and deal with Fast Rail, the last man standing from Honeybadgernation.
They got their reses. They just look like they're just trying to do damage control at this point. They're fine with him standing up there. They know they got most of the team. It's not until they have to transition that they're super worried about. They're just going to try to keep nading as much as they can. K-Mine with this sneaky grenade just decimates Totality.
I believe that might have been almost a complete team wipe. I don't see any Totality left on the screen. I believe K-Mine, in a last-ditch effort, has eliminated Totality.
K-Mine, all by his lonesome, gets revenge for his teammates. Next circle's going to pop, still staying around the shelter location. K-Mine's going to have to come in around this other area. If you look down around where Nova is at, we've got our Cloud9 guys. They're going to have to push up over next to Flyquest. We've got the last guy from Team Gate still alive, Mosey, it's over there. But look, Wildcard is stacked right on top of Trigger Happy on the western side. And also, Optic's got to figure out how they're going to cross this road. There's not a lot of good places for them to play. They've been kind of quiet right now, but they have to find some type of path.
So for Cloud9, they are now in a position where they have all sorts of eyeballs looking at them as we do move to Wildcard and Trigger Happy sharing this little compound. Shredded stuck by himself. Ghost, meanwhile, playing quietly as we see Wildcard going for a push here. They're going to go right at Trigger Happy.
They're running up. It's just the two of them. Traffelli's trying to see what he can get off of it. Can't get anything on it, so that's going to be Trigger Happy still up and alive. Desk was talking about them. This is just that guy. This is just the 4 guys that have been trying to play, trying to make their way into an event. You know this has to feel so good for them right now. They're coming in and they're performing well, but they have Optic right on the outskirts coming after them.
Wildcard had a problem with moving across on that push. They had Ghost all over them, and Profi did steal a couple of kills there, with now Optic Gaming arriving on scene.
And you also have God Squad that's just to the south of them, pushing into a similar location. None of these guys are inside the safe circle. It looks like Optic is going to pull out and away. They're just going to try to get a foothold at the bottom of the hill, but it's going to be the guys from Flyquest taking long-range shots at him. Gunner is aware that there's going to be multiple squads coming through, trying to get some smokes down. Trying to get out of these locations is going to be so hard to do. Cloud9 also finally looks like they're on the move off in that lower area, pushing right up next to where Nova is going to be at.
Absolutely. So for that, again, that bottom right portion of the play zone, you can see the pressure again mounting. Nova and C9 getting involved. It is Ghost there as well, using that long arm of that M24, reaching out and trying to get Nova.
Just look at this mini-map. There are so many dots. Everybody's just compressed on top of each other, and Cloud9 is just finding themselves caught in crossfire after crossfire. 2 members already down from Venerated. Off in the distance, you can see Frolickers taking a little bit of damage. Nova guys are just on the top of this hill. They just keep bumping into squad after squad and are having to fight their way through this.
Flyquest.
Everybody's just trying to come out and around, and there's nowhere to go.
We did see Fast Rail go down. That's Honeybadgernation eliminated, but now it's all about Nova trying to hang on. C9 trying to keep the momentum going, but it looks like they are on their back foot, having lost Stab already. Riem is down. 4 kills between them. It's now Moody and a damaged Frolicker trying to hold on against Nova, who is taking damage from all sides as well.
They have to push into this. They're trying to figure out where they can come around. They're trying to just get a foothold inside of the safe circle. They don't want to take the damage off of this. Nova is just shooting at everybody around, providing a little bit of cover, a little bit distraction for the guys from Cloud9 so that way they can come into this. Nova does have the high ground position on it. God Squad gets eliminated from the guys from Trigger Happy earlier, where we saw that they still managed to look like they finally found their little home inside of this, but look at how dangerous this little area is that we're looking at now. Eunited still in their spot, Dignitas has found their spot, and Slime Squad still, against all odds, are alive somehow in this 4-man strong.
Absolutely. So now we do see Ghost having used their position to a very big advantage right now, having to move out of their little compound. Not a long way to go, but we do see NRG get eliminated as well. This is just very difficult for anyone to get anything going, but we see Ghost again. Caden continuing to get down and kill, down and kill. Ghost is staying extremely active. 5 kills already, 4 strong.
And here we go. The gatekeeping is strong coming out from Ghost. They're just not letting Trigger Happy come up and around this hill. It's just wide out in the open. They have to cross a road, so there is no form of cover inside of this. The only thing that could potentially happen is if any of these other squads try to distract Envious or the Ghost guys.
Wow, Trigger
there's just
Happy.
nowhere to go. Look at this. They know that they have to get out of here. They know they're in a bad spot. 20 seconds. They have to cross a wide open field, but Ghost doesn't care. They know that they're not safe. They just want the kills, man. They are bloodthirsty
There's
right now.
nothing for them to do. They know they have the zone on Trigger Happy. They have to move away from this tree. The smoke is only going to stay for so long, and that tree is just the tree is just not fat enough. You can't stay behind there, so it's going to be all about Ghost just eviscerating these guys as they try and get some peaks. They're going to have to hit some hero shots here.
Trigger Happy needs to get it down to have any chance coming out of this. That's why they're taking their random risk. They're just running at this point. They know it's bad. They know that there's too many people that are looking at them, and this is not a squad that you want to run from. They're just tearing them down. Gunner is now down and out. Downs are just coming everywhere on this. Ghost is just not going to let them get away from that tree. Look, Traded is on a smidgen of life.
And that's it. It actually looks like Flyquest did pick up the final shot there, so they did take away some of the kills from Ghost. But Flyquest now, it's going to be a question. They now have the zone on Ghost Gaming. So is Flyquest going to be able to deal with this? But they've already just lost Sharky to Cloud9.
You could see that the way they were trying to position up on that, they were waiting to try to catch Ghost. Flyquest was in a great spot, but Cloud9 just comes up right behind them. Moody takes down their flank position. Landoon did hear it, so he's now firing down onto Moody. It's all these little solos that can just pop up out of nowhere, but it's going to be off in the distance. Flyquest actually provides cover for Moody to stay alive.
Absolutely. Moody is now in 100% defensive mode. He is now going to try and vie for a top 10 placing for his team. He is the last man standing. He's got the meds handy. He's going to have to stay very inactive here. Motivate up at the top of the hill. Dealing with Gankstars actually now as we see Smeagol go down. And now it's only Nitrogen left. So Motivate, having cleaned up that right side of the play zone, finds themselves with lots of time and space.
The big question is now, how is the next circle going to scope the narrative for this? We've got our Optic guys on the northern area of the map. You can see that there are 4 squads all positioned. Not everybody has gotten their foothold of safety. We've got Tempo Storm right on top of Slime Squad. We've got Optic that's trying to push their way inside there. Well, whenever I say right on top of Slime Squad, I mean literally on top of them because they're down in the bunker area. There is one player for Eunited still up and alive, and that's going to be Geist that's on the outside just watching all of this go down, hoping that he can just kind of sneak into it.
Optic is now starting to come alive here. You see 2 downs, 1 down from Tempo Storm, 1 down from Ghost. Ghost does have the ability to maintain their foothold just for a little bit longer, as you see McCoy still staying active with that scope on that M16, trying to get as many shots as possible. They've been doing a great job of holding on to this thing, but now it's time to move. No buildings left in the play zone. We will see now who has the skill to land the shots.
25 people alive. It's just hills and trees to hide in. It's all about the aim, just like you were talking about. You got to hit those peaks. Got to hit the...
Ooh, Geist down to the play zone.
What are you guys doing down here?
What happened?
What are you guys doing? I know it's the safest spot. They're just going to run out and around. They're just going to come around the corner. It's kind of sneaky safe, but it's like trying to come out of this. Once they try to move out of the shelter area, if anybody is looking towards those entrances, it's just going to be bad.
Slime Squad, the basement boys, hanging on for now to the shelter they've been basically fighting for the last little while, as Flyquest is now getting pressure from Moody, who does not want to lay down and wait, and he is taking huge risks here.
He is all by his lonesome. He is the last hope for Cloud9, and he does not care. He wants those kill points. He wants the downs. He wants to weaken them. Flyquest, last member up as well. They still have to transition out. Remember, we've been seeing a lot of stuff. Look, good Lord, just Envy is just crashing.
Hey, how are you doing?
After building, just murdering everybody inside of it. They just come in, they take the bottom part of the Wizard Tower. There's always one guy up there, and they're like, he can stay there for now.
Is still there. Now it's all of Ghost occupying the bottom half of the Wizard Tower, and it looks like Caden is trying to find an angle on the outside. Steezy's still there. They have to know there's one left. Tempo Storm and Cloud9 also getting eliminated. And look at Tempo Storm dealing with Slime Squad. They came out of the bunker and got destroyed.
We talked about it. You come out of that bunker, sure, you're alive for now, but the moment you do, it's just 4 guns that spin into that little cubby and just murder you. Now, a very quiet squad is going to be Motivate. They've had a circle control for quite a while, but they finally step forward, and Caden just knocks them back down. They are trying to get some type of spot inside the circle, but Caden is just not letting Motivate do anything. I think it's just Inferno up and around, and it looks like Caden knows exactly where he's at. They're going for a side flank around. Grenades are coming out. 15 alive. They're just going to flank around on this end. There's nowhere for Inferno to go.
Rolling.
Caden says no.
They are just destroying team after team. They are unstoppable right now. The confidence is flowing. They have 12 total kills. Ghost in position to rotate along the top half of this play zone, clear out the last remaining member of Gankstars. Optic also eliminated. This is looking like it's going to be a Tempo Storm versus Ghost ending. Steezy BB still in his Wizard Tower trying to get position.
And you heard the desk talk about they were worried about the shot calling coming out from Ghost. They're past that point now. These are some of the hottest hands with a gun inside of North American PUBG. They have the circle. Now they just have to walk and find out who they want to shoot. Tempo Storm's got a little bit of a spot. Finally going to finish off Dignitas Adam. Wookie Bookie's still inside of it. And the circle moves to Ghost.
So for now, Dignitas is going to just try and poke away at Tempo Storm. They're going to have to vie for this rotation towards the last safe zone. Maybe having to ride that circle in, but they just have this wide open area to get to. It's, I believe, only Wookie Bookie by himself.
And it's these solos. Yeah, there's 2 solos that are posted up right now. I mean, they're playing around the different edges. You can see Nitrogen's hidden in one spot. Wookie Bookie's down another one. He's got the smokes around him, so Tempo Storm's looking over that direction. If Tempo Storm pushes up towards Ghost, there can be just somebody that pops up, and that's going to be Nitrogen, just be able to mow down 1 or 2 members. It's going to come down to potentially which way he looks. Tempo Storm is now pushing right into where he's at. You can see Nitrogen under a world of stress just off to the right side of it there. He's got guys coming up right behind him, but they don't see him. He sees them, but they don't see him.
So far, you're whispering so they don't hear you. I'll whisper too.
Can't give away his position, Moses.
So for Tempo Storm, they are split, and they get the first shot onto Venerated.
That's a big kill right there. They're trying to get the push onto it. They've got the down. Now Ghost is going to look back this direction, not opting into any form of movement. Nitrogen's just playing along the circle.
He can ruin this for them.
He's just looking at them. The moment he decides to take action, and it's going to have to be against Tempo Storm, he can just destroy Tempo Storm at this point. Wookie Bookie is also now back behind him. So while it looks like Tempo Storm is in a great spot, they are technically fighting 5 different people.
Yeah, solos could destroy Tempo Storm right now if they wanted to. Wookie Bookie taking aim, and he will fire. Now they're trading.
And it's going to be a nice down. Dignitas has now been eliminated. Nitrogen is still hiding back there. Caden's going for a side flank. He heard the shots. Walks right back up and gets the down onto Zampa.
That's a huge loss.
This is starting to turn bad for Tempo Storm.
Caden.
Another one's down off of it. It's all into BenQ5. Tempo Storm is now down and out. And I think it's just the one last guy remaining.
Just Nitrogen, but he surprises them. But McCoy with the quick turn as Ghost Gaming takes game number 1 with a huge amount of kills.